going. You're live! Apparently. Live. I'm alive. Ish. It's early. Okay. Where are we at? What's going on? Ooh. Gesture drawing and style and stuff and things. Yeah. I'm just gonna chill and wait for some people to show up. Oh, I've got someone on the Twitch. Twitch. Stream settings. I am going to uncheck this box. Unlist live replay once stream ends. So, from now on, I actually will be just letting all of my sloppy streams go live on YouTube after I am done with my streams. They might not be super duper entertaining and awesome, but I figure why not? Just let it go. Like Elsa. Head construction. I don't know what I want to do today. Right. Stream quality looks okay-ish, I think. I am live on YouTube and Twitch. I'm just gonna give it a few minutes. Well, no, I can doodle while I'm waiting. So, actually, my doodles. Let's talk about my doodles, my gesture doodles today. So, I've been trying to focus on doing force gesture. And that did not work for me. Specifically, the taking it into longer poses. For some reason, my brain was not able to make that work. So, these are force gestures, and then I tried to take force gestures and do longer poses with them, and everything just got really lost for some reason. Now, I'm not saying force gesture bad. As a matter of fact, I think force gesture really good. But it's something that, for me, I think works better as something I integrate into my gesture process, which is, somewhat forcey, but also more constructy. It's something that I think Steve Houston explains really well. Like, you have to bounce back and forth between gesture and structure, and they're not necessarily two separate things. They can be a combined process, and that's where I seem to find stylistically what works for me. That's a process that I enjoy. So you can take what you learn from one thing and apply it to another thing, I think, is sort of the point I'm trying to make. So like here, I can take the ideas from force Good morning, Chris. But I can take the ideas from force gesture drawing and apply it to my gesture process, and that's, I think, where I'm going to find my comfort zone. And well, that's where I'm going to expand my comfort zone, is by taking the force gesture process and applying it to my gesture process. Not taking someone else's methodology as some sort of gospel, because it's not. There's no individual way to do gesture drawing the quote right way. We'll reset that pose. That is a fun one. What's up, Nova? I don't know if you got to hear the whole rant about my experience with force gesture drawing, but I have abandoned using the force method as like my primary source of gesture. Like, I'm trying to take it and integrate it with my gesture drawing process, so that I get, you know, my regular hybrid process. Yeah. God, I have bug bites on my legs that are freaking killing me. Farm life, yo. We'll try doing that. Also, the forced gesture stuff, I was getting very far away from doing clothing studies just because that was taking up so much of my gesture drawing and warm-up time. So I was missing out on doing like clothing gesture, which is super challenging, but also very fun for me. Maybe not for everyone. Ooh. Silly Procreate. Ooh. Sorry, there's a really interesting interesting discussion going on in the Discord right now in the Art Talk channel on Vale's Castle. Just wading into this discussion on what makes a good art critique culture. It's actually a really interesting discussion, and it has a lot to do with what I was talking about earlier with abandoning the force method as my like the thing that I'm adopting as a gesture drawing practice. So the discussion is revolving around this idea of like right and wrong in art, and how in the end there is no definitive correct or incorrect way to do certain things. And for me, the comparison always comes back to language. So, like, my 5-year-old can speak, but she is not a craftsperson whenever it comes to telling stories. So she can communicate, but she can't communicate super well. And art's the same way. Like, anyone who picks up a pencil and draws a picture can communicate, but they can't communicate well. Not necessarily. Oh, sorry. And art skill, when it comes down to it, is going to be about developing your communication skills in a way that ends up being uniquely your way of communicating. But there's still some underlying principles that help you communicate better in art, and I think the big one is composition. And there are different ways to compose an image, just like there are different ways to write or speak. So a poet doesn't like a poem doesn't have the same composition as a novel, for instance. They are different types of communication with different structures, and visual art's the same way. Like a character artist isn't going to compose an image the same way as an environment artist, who isn't going to compose an image in the same way as like a storyboard artist. And even when there are some overlaps, like storyboarding and comic books, or even webcomics, like webcomics have their own unique way of being framed or executed. So there are different ways to compose images for each one of those different methods. But learning the rules of composition will serve you well no matter what you decide to do. So composition, I think, is sort of the universal challenging thing that is worth developing to the max as an artist. Even as a character artist, like you should probably know how to frame that character for maximum impact. Like you're gonna want a medium close shot, like the cowboy shot, in order to get plenty of detail and gesture and whatever in there if you want to do really good character art. But then you also need to be able to do like turnarounds and character sheets where you got the boring ass A pose, you know? All of this to say, no matter what your style is, no matter what your chosen profession as an artist is, the more time you put into studying composition while working on your projects, the better off you'll be, and the better you will be able to communicate with your images. Yeah. Rant over. Yeah, I love this though. I love being a part of art communities where we get to discuss things. Yeah, one of the big things that newer artists always get caught up on is this idea of like, what should I study before I can do the thing that I want to do? And it's like, no. Do the thing that you want to do, and that'll tell you what you need to study. Like, you'll run into a challenge that you need to overcome in order to do the thing that you want to do, and then you study that thing that you're being challenged with. Like, that's as Chaos put it, or Chaosu. I don't. You've got the weird chicken or egg situation, and it's like, yeah, you sort of just need to do this thing and then figure out where your shortfalls are and take care of those once you figure that out. All right. Back to drawing. I feel like I'm actually getting warmed up a little bit, so that's good. messed up on shading. That might actually be a much easier fix than you think. Oof. My 1 minute face gesture practice is like, that's not a strong game right now. Oh. Rendering. Yeah, rendering is difficult, and especially knowing when to say this is done. Please don't fall. Or if you do fall, don't get hurt. Alright. Sorry, the kids are awake. Stuff and things. Yeah, I actually saw a really cool video from who was it? I think it was Mark Burnett. I don't know. It was like insta shading. I am actually gonna try approaching things a little bit differently with my rendering until I get to like some of the later stages. Not really sure. What's up, Lane? Yeah, I'm gonna try out a new rendering approach for at least the beginning part of my rendering with my next piece, whatever that is. Because my last one, like, it was on a deadline for a project, and I wasn't happy with it, but I finished it for the deadline. But the big thing that I disliked about it was the rendering process that I went through. Like, it got lost. I got lost in the rendering, and everything that I was doing was making it worse instead of better. So I ended up backtracking a little bit. Let me see. I actually took notes on it, like what I hated about it. Yeah. So simplify my colors, keep my lines in the artwork. So actually, Lane, you'll be amused to hear this one. So every time that I have like an accidental success painting, like I'll paint something and I'm like, damn, that's pretty good painting. Maybe I don't need so many lines. So I'll try to do my next piece as a painting without any lines. And I can never hit 2 in a row. Never, ever, ever can I hit 2 in a row with painting. I have to have my drawing. Like, I'm much more consistent if I can draw. But yeah, I didn't do enough thumbnails and no-tans on the last one either. Like, it was a pseudo predetermined composition because of the art camp that I'm in, so it was supposed to be characters centered, facing a world. I should have switched it up and just done my thing, but not painting. There's gesture drawing. No, not doing that. I'll do this one. Probably do one or two more gestures, and then maybe a longer figure study. Well, what I was trying to do is to take like my notans or my thumbnails and uh like blow them up and just start painting on top of that, or like bouncing back and forth even and doing a little bit of drawing, a little bit of painting, a little bit of drawing, a little bit of painting, and it just was not working. Like for me, my 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 brain works very linearly. Like I can sketch and then lighten my sketch and then refine my sketch and then lighten that refined sketch and do like finished line art and then color that and then eventually start painting on top of everything. But if I try to bounce back and forth between drawing and painting, it does not work ever. Sometimes I can go straight a la prima and it's just it happens. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know, like I have to be it's never on purpose, I think is what I'm trying to say. Like anytime I can paint and the painting turns out well, it's an accident. um but whenever I'm able to draw something and then color it, and then I've got like this cell shaded illustration, and then I paint on top of that because the under drawing illustration and shading is strong or at least passable, then I can make that look like a painting, even though technically it's just a really rendered drawing with colors. Like seriously, I'll go in and put some painted strokes in the corners to make it look like I approached it as a painting, but in reality, like making it look like a painting was the last thing that I did on this. Oh, my wife gets Friday off work. I am excited. Oreos are gone. You ate them all. Yeah, I think what I'm going to end up doing is just finding where I can Finding where I can focus. We have cereal bars, the chocolate covered cereal bars up there, or I don't know, that's about it right now, sweetie. I'll have Mama go to the grocery store. This is one that I tried to draw with the force method on a longer pose and failed at miserably. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna pause this. We're gonna approach it. Actually, no, I'm not gonna pause it. What I'm going to do is approach this as just a gesture drawing first. Not right now. Because I am in the middle of a live stream. Now that I have my gesture, I am going to copy this gesture onto its own spread. Come on. Blow it up. And do a little bit of a study from it. Sorry, I want this to be a little bit lighter. There we go. A little bit lighter with pressure sensitivity. That's a little too light. Okay. Just take the middle of the curve down a little. Just a little. Because this one has a tendency to get way too dark, way too fast. I can't pretend to know exactly what you're talking about. Um, I'm assuming it's something to do with development. All right. So my ultimate goal here is to try to do some light and shadow studies on top of gesture drawing. Now, is this completely accurate to what's on the gesture drawing app? No, not at all. But I am rather pleased with being able to combine some shapes. And find some really cool light and shadow patterns in here. That makes me happy. Well, I took this gesture and then spent a few minutes rendering it. I think I'll do one more. Like one more rendered gesture. So let's switch back to my mechanical pen. Oh, actually, I need to create a new reset point here. Like I finally have this, pencil brush by Monero tuned. What's up? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to pronounce your name. Munasvin. Munasvin? Moon. I apologize. Alright. Let's see. Ooh, that one looks fun. And it's got a skull. So I'll repeat what I just did. Give myself 1 minute to knock out a gesture. I don't know what's going on here. There. Okay. I got horribly sidetracked by technical issues. So I'm giving myself an extra minute. A whole minute? Yeah. I'm spoiling myself. What can I say? those. So, paste. Let's drag it up to here. Make it bigger. Merge it down. And now I'll render it for a few. Right. That is exactly what I have been trying to develop for the longest time. So, not like this specific gesture, but this idea of finding appealing shapes in the gesture itself, but also in the light and shadow shapes. Um, that is probably one of the most difficult things that I've tried to approach in art in general. Um, yeah. All right, man. Take it easy. I might still be drawing when you get out. Yeah, I like this one too. So, two fun, somewhat successful gesture, or well, figure studies. Um, I don't think this one's complete by any means, but it does what it's supposed to do. Like the shape language that I'm developing right now is really what I'm after. Like, it sounds kinda silly, I guess, but the way I think about shape language is basically like handwriting. Trying to develop my own handwriting with shape language. And just finding that rhythm for myself that makes me comfortable and excited to sit down and draw. Yeah. Boom. So these, much better than these. These are more here. So this was after a force only warm up yesterday, where I tried to just do force gestures and then blow them up and then work with that force gesture to turn it into a finished figure drawing with a light and shadow study. Granted, it was also very, 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 very hot in my home yesterday, so I was miserable while I was doing this, not in a great mood, blah, blah, blah. Lots of things. Today, after doing my regular, like, me gesture warm-up, taking those and blowing them up, and then doing a figure study on top of them, I feel like this was much more successful, and I had more fun doing this. Yeah. Yeah. So I want to keep studying, as always. I never stop studying, but I'm way happier with this approach. So I am going to continue this approach to gesture and figure study. Plus, I'm getting back to doing costumed figures in my gesture drawing. So that's also really important to me. Like, yes, I draw naked people, but I also draw people wearing clothes. So getting reps in with the clothing is not a bad thing. Oh. Alright, I will be right back. I'm gonna go make some fresh coffee. And, yeah, then I'll start doing something else. Maybe talk about my big art goals for 2026, the rest of 2026, last half. Sorry. The the conversation continued in the server. It was awesome. All right, yeah. Muting this and going to get coffee. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Oh, I didn't stir my coffee. Okay, sorry about that. So, things I'm doing right now. I am doing a lot of things right now. One thing that I'm doing is trying a new sketchbooking method for everything that I'm studying, and it's super nerdy. Don't really care, but I'm like taking notes on one side of my thing, on one side of my sketchbook, and then doing a practice thing on the other side of my sketchbook. So, notes over here, practice over here, or tiny studies over here, big thing over here to like have something with a little more polish. So that's how I'm moving through a lot of my studies. I'm doing that with my world building project too, which, due to YouTube's terms of service, I cannot share. So yeah, that's one thing that I'm doing that takes no extra time or effort. It's just keeping things a little more organized that way, and the 2 pages that I've done that for so far have been really nice. Of course, I also have my like dedicated gestures sketchbook thing here. So I started this sketchbook off doing force gestures, force gestures, force gestures. Then I was like, I don't like force gestures because I went and did this. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start mingling my gestures in with the force gestures. And that just worked for me. And since that worked for me, that's what I'm going to keep doing. Meeting is over. Fantastic. So there's my set of drawings that I did for my figure study today. Banging things around on the table. But I was talking about my new approach to sketchbooking. So notes on the left, practice on the right, or whenever I get around to it, I will be doing like tiny studies on the left and then a more polished practice on the right. But in terms of like random crap that I'm doing right now, farming, that's the big one. Lots and lots of farming. I was talking to some other artists yesterday, or the day before yesterday. They were making fun of me for trying to speedrun Stardew Valley in real life. I was like, yeah, that's sort of the thing. We've got, as of this week, we have a new goat, a pigeon, and a turtle, in addition to the other 20 some odd animals. Yeah, it's a lot. Oh, here comes my son with his turtle right now. Can find some breakfast, bro. A pesto wrap is not breakfast, that's lunch. Well, I will make you a wrap at lunchtime, bro. it'll be about lunchtime whenever I'm done with the stream.
Like 2 hours.
No, it's gonna be about 45 minutes. He did actually name the turtle after his favorite, well, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. He doesn't really have a favorite. But yeah, it's Donatello. I guess tortoise is the more accurate terminology. It's the little box turtle. I don't care. Yeah, if it were up to me, it would have been Raphael. Raphael was always my favorite. Hot-headed rebel. Oh. But yeah, my current list of yes. Yes, indeed. So my list of things going on at the moment, we've got world building. And under that big umbrella of world building, there are a few things that I am doing. So, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to let my dog out. He is. I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. Under the big umbrella of world building, we have the Valhalla VizDev camp. And then I'm vicariously taking a world building course through a friend. I don't know, it's like a mentorship. I'm just following along with those assignments because she's posting what the assignments are. So these two really go hand in hand. And then on top of that, we have the Tarot Project. So all of this really works together. So it looks like a lot, but it's really not. I mean, it is a lot, but there's a lot of overlap between these two things. And then since there's a lot of overlap there, I'm just doing my Tarot Project around those assignments. So the Tarot Project is still a go, and I'm using those assignments to help with the Tarot Project. So this is my big world building goal. Hit us with the mildly interesting
Give me the bird.
story.
You're always making it stop.
So with all of this world building stuff, my study time is based on this free 7-month art improvement challenge, which I'm just gonna do the 7-month art challenge, which I'm modifying.
You just now had him, and I haven't
Oh, very
had him.
cool. Hold on. My daughters are fighting over a pigeon. Sorry, my kids are being a lot right now. But what is the shape of your world? What shape did you decide to do your world in?
I want gummies. I want gummies.
Oh, that's trippy.
Daddy,
That is really that's a pretty cool concept. Oh, my kids are driving me crazy today. Um, so on like study time, this is minimal. What's up, Miss Namera? That's a super neat idea. Crap. All right, I gotta put the bird up. All right, and I'm back. Sorry, a cat was trying to eat the pigeon. We can't have that. All right. So yeah, Miss Namera there is actually the one doing the world building thing that I'm stealing, taking vicariously through her actual mentorship. So thank you, Namera, for posting all of your assignments. So for study, I'm doing the 7-month art challenge and learning Blender. So I'm taking a Blender 101 course on character sculpting. And then after that, I'm also gonna try and figure out Blender environment design. So the only reason I'm wanting to learn 3D is to help with 2D. So if I can do a good Blender, it's to help the process, most definitely. So perspective is like so I'm doing the Blender character sculpting course so that I can make good meshes of my stylized characters. Like I've played a lot with Daz 3D or Daz Studio because it's insane the amount of stuff that you can do with characters in Daz, except stylized. Like they're all relatively normal relatively normal looking characters, and I want to stylize my characters, and Blender is free and open source and all of that fun stuff. So I'm gonna be learning Blender for stylizing characters, and then if I'm going to be doing a lot of environment design, it helps to have just a quick way to cheat perspective and do essentially matte painting on top of 3D backgrounds. So I'll make, boxes and lay them out quickly, and then have, or rooms even, like I could basically do set design with Blender and have these 3D models of whatever. Even if they're simple 3D models, like a box for a couch or a box for a countertop, or like, you get the point. Like, even if I have just this Lego set in Blender that I can do quick screenshots of for painting, for environments, then that just speeds up the process so much. So that's everything that I'm working on right now. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Also really tired. I've been getting some of my results back. Some of my results back from my blood work. And hopefully we can start treatment for some of the things that are coming back as actually a problem. And yeah, that's the hope and the dream. Oh, so I'm gonna go ahead and export this. Share JPEG to my MacBook. All right. I find it amusing that I can kind of tell who has responded to my stuff on Discord by the color of the heart. Thank you. Hopefully. We'll see what happens. So today, actually, I think today I would like to go ahead and start sketching on my replacement The World tarot card. So I'm gonna go back to the classic The World, but we're gonna, okay, cool. Actually, yes and no. That's actually, I'm kind of bland there, I think, in terms of my world. Let me, sorry, again, I have to be careful about how I switch tabs, or yeah, got to be careful about how I show things. I just have this world map that I'm slowly expanding out as I develop characters and stuff. Well, characters, nations, etc., etc. So this one's supposed to be like an elevation map. So I'm yeah, we really can't all be that young coming up with floating void pillars. That's such a cool idea though. Damn. I kind of want to steal it now, but I'm not going to steal from your son. Alright, I am going to... stick. Right one. I mean, I might. That is a very cool idea. I don't think my particular world is going to have much of a multiverse, because what he has described is like each planet is its own pillar. I'm assuming, well, not planet, but each world is its own pillar in a sea of infinite blackness. Can't say planet because it's not a planet, it's a pillar. But is there magic? That's fun. So technology might not be there, but magical prowess could eventually get you there, maybe? You read any Brandon Sanderson? Brandon Sanderson is pretty interesting fantasy author. Sorry, I need to make sure my dog isn't eating a goat. Be right back. Yeah, Farmer Josh. I already did that one. I I don't know. I imagine it's probably been spoken several times. Maybe not recently. Oh yeah, Brandon Sanderson. Um, he's probably the most prolific fantasy author of our generation. Like he he writes 1,000+ page books constantly. Like and they're all very, very intricate in their world building. Um, super unique magic systems and weird social structures and just off the wall everything. Um, but all of his books, even though many of them happen on different worlds, all of his books are tied together in what's called the Cosmere. Um, and there are certain characters that do show up in multiple books in multiple worlds because they are the world hoppers. Like, yeah, like it's a really interesting concept. But I think something like that could work really well with your son's trippy cool idea. Sorry, I'm moving things around on the screen. Why is he whining? He just came inside. This heat wave is brutal. I don't know if, like, I don't know where everyone's tuning in from, but holy crap, it's hot outside here. And humid. How have you managed not to use AC? Like, it's pushing 100 degrees here. The heat index is, I think, 104, just because of the humidity. That's awesome. You do not need your antibiotics. Yeah, our low last night was somewhere in the 70s. Ah. I don't know how we always get one. Let's ban unilateral something or other. Shut down. Are you serious? Oh no. That's so horrible. Okay. Yeah, so here's the hope that eventually, maybe people will be fed up enough that the amount of spending won't matter. Like, there will come a point, I think, where the amount of spending will just piss people off. Like one of those let them eat cake situations. You know what I mean? Sure ended up with a lot of people doing things that weren't really expected. Like, oh, so and so spent $20 billion to elect this person, and then it just backfires, you know? Yeah. Yeah, that's the hope. And this looks like garbage. So I'm going to undo a lot of that. And focus on simple shape instead of messy garbage. Well, that's good. That's good news. With all of the threats to violent reform of the Supreme Court, I think they understood that that would probably not go well. Like, there is a bit of an incendiary environment toward the Supreme Court at the moment. Well, it is 11 o'clock. I have started to work on a few of the little Notan designs for the World version 2. So just due to the speed that I'm going to have to start knocking some of these things out, I am going to end up working on this a lot through the week. But there's no way I'm going to... Well, it's not very likely that I'm going to be able to finish this. So I'm going to try to get as far as I can with it. I am going to be trying out my new process this time, so it's really going to be... Actually, I'm going to fall back to this process. So this process worked really well. It worked really, really well. I am very happy with this one. So I did, my Notans. So I did my Notans. I blew it up. I sketched on top of it. Then I kept coloring. And eventually ended up with a piece that I was very happy with. And my lines are still there, but it still looks like I painted a lot of it. And yeah, there will always be more art. Stylistically, I like this. I'm going to take my Notan, I'm going to sketch on top of it, I'm going to refine my line art, I'm going to color my entire piece, and I am going to try a slightly different rendering method this time, but it still boils down to doing flat colors under my line art. Then I'll use my line art to fake some shading. Then I'll use some overlay or color dodge layers to light my piece. And once all of the shading and lighting is done relatively quickly that way, I will go back, flatten everything down, and then paint on top of what I've done to introduce some color variety or whatever. Because I do like color variety, but whenever I tried to do it on this keyframe thing, it just didn't work because I had no lines. Like, I had some sketchy lines underneath everything, but I did not refine my line art before I started working on that one. So yeah, I'm gonna redo the world, then I want to come back to Kira and the cat, Kira and the cat, and then bring it up to a level of polish similar to this one. So that's gonna need some work. I already revisited the Magus. I'm happy with that one, where it's at. So yeah, actually that might be what I do next week. If I finish this, I'll just go back and touch up Kira and the cat. Yeah. All right, take it easy, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I want to go feed my children and myself, and we'll take it from there. Have a great week. I'll see you next Tuesday.